Coming to you from the big island of Hawaii, it's the Songs and Stories Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Aloha and welcome to another Songs and Stories Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Roby, and we have a very special show today. My guest is Jake Shimabukuro. This is an interview that was conducted at the Kahilu Theatre in December of 2021, right before his concert there, and you can watch it on Kahilu TV. Jake wanted to talk about his new album, Jake and Friends, which is a collection of duets he did over the past 4 years with various superstars, and he was very excited to talk about it. I do apologize for parts of the audio quality of this interview, as it was done with one mic, and I am slightly off mic, but Jake, you can hear his responses very clearly. At Kahilu TV, they're working out some of the audio issues of doing this interview in a large hallway, so there's a bit of echo. But I think you'll enjoy the interview. Stay tuned for after the interview. There's a concert clip of his show at the Kahilu Theatre. Enjoy.
Welcome, Jake.
Aloha. Thank you so much, Steve. Great to see you again.
It's been
thank
a while.
you.
And thanks for coming back to the Kahilu Theatre.
Oh, thank you. It's one of my favorite places to play. It's so beautiful, and all the new renovations look amazing, and it's incredible. So honored to be back.
Well, let's talk about this beautiful album sitting here. Jake and Friends just came out late November?
Well, actually, just a few weeks ago. Late cool. November,
So I understand it took about 4 years from concept to completion to put this thing together. Would you want to briefly talk about the process of how it came together?
Well, it started with a conversation that I had with my manager, Van Fletcher. About 4 years ago, we sat down and he said, you should work on a collaborations, duets record. And I was like, oh, okay. And he started throwing some names out, and I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, this is never going to happen, right? But luckily, a longtime friend of ours, Ray Benson from Asleep at the Wheel, we mentioned the project to him, and he really wanted to support it, and he came on as a co-producer with us. And the first phone call he made was to Willie Nelson. 2 months later, we were in the studio recording Stardust. And once we got that done, it just gave the project momentum. And so Michael McDonald came in after that, and we did Go Now.
The little Moody Blues song.
And then I flew to LA, recorded with Bette Midler. We did The Rose.
In studio with the musicians.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't like a long distance thing where this guy had to.
Yeah, so a lot of everything was done in person, and except for 3 tracks. There were 3 tracks that we couldn't do because we were doing it during the pandemic. So one was Jimmy Buffett, but that was easy because I toured with him for a long time.
Sure.
So that one, Ziggy Marley, and John Anderson. So those were the 3 that we had to do remotely. But we still worked very closely together, just in different studios.
Right.
And the nice thing about this record is the other tracks, the other 13 tracks, we got to do in studio, just like how they did, and they were live takes.
Wow.
Real takes from beginning to end. And
how did you assign song selections for people?
I kind of actually I left it up to the artists, to choose what they wanted, and a lot of them were songs that were iconic songs of theirs, like Willie Nelson and Stardust, of course, Bette Midler and The Rose, Jesse Colin Young, and Get Together, right? So, and then some of the other ones were songs that maybe they were. Playing on the road, on tour. So like Ziggy Marley wanted to do All You Need Is Love because that was something he was singing, during his tour. Trying to think what else. Michael McDonald actually plays the ukulele. And so when we were talking, I think, he's actually playing baritone ukulele on that track.
Oh, okay.
He's a fantastic ukulele.
Really?
Yeah. So we did that. When I was talking with Vince Gill about what song we would do, he mentioned, I remember he mentioned the relationship, between George Harrison and the ukulele, and how George Harrison loved the ukulele. So he said, let's do a George Harrison song. And then he mentioned Something, and it's one of my all-time favorites, right? And then he said, and then let me see if my wife, Amy Grant, will come and sing it as a duet, right? So that's how we got Amy Grant on there too.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But it was such a fun project, and I tell people it really should have been called, instead of Jake and Friends, it should have been called Jake and Dreams Come True, because that's how I felt, with all these people coming together and just being a part of this.
Well, the album cover is kind of dreamy too. How did that come about? It reminds me of the 60s.
Yeah. So my manager Van, he kind of wanted like this kind of very like a more retro, look, and I love it. I love the way it turned out, and I think it really fits the vibe of the record.
It's very cool.
And I think just the whole idea too of a collaborations record is I think I don't know. I think especially for me now, it means so much. It means so much more to me now. As we, going through what we all went through, right, the last couple of years, and and it's really about people coming together and coming back together and supporting each other and all of that, and and that's why I'm just so honored. I feel like. With all these artists, on this album, I'm so honored that they really supported this project and wanted to be a part of it.
It's going to be a classic. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Hey, speaking about that 18th month gap that we've experienced and hopefully coming out as soon, how's it feel to be touring again?
I was just so grateful to be playing in front of a live audience. I mean, it's something I'll never take for granted again, and I remember our first couple shows back. I mean, just that connection, feeling I remember our first show back was in Clearwater, and I remember walking out on stage and everyone just started like cheering and screaming, and to feel that again, I got choked up.
Oh man,
I really did.
Me chicken skin.
And then and then after the first song, to hear the applause and that. That excitement, like I actually started crying. I got emotional on stage, and you see it, you feel it with the, a lot of the venues that we've been playing, we've been their first show back. So you can see like even like the ushers and the volunteers, I mean, they're in tears at the end of the night. They're just like, oh, we missed this so much, we needed this, And for me too, I've actually been able to go to a few shows and be in the audience and to experience that impact, being sitting in the audience and listening to live music, and oh man, I mean, there's just no substitute for that.
I couldn't agree more. Well, let's talk about the Christmas show that you're doing at the Kahilu Theatre. It sounds like it's a pretty special event, and those watching at home on Kahilu TV can watch it any time of the year, right?
Yeah, Kahilu TV is amazing. The quality, the production quality, the amount of content that they have on there. I mean, it's incredible. It's like Austin city limits, I mean, it's
it
really
keeps growing too.
Yeah, it does, and the content keeps growing. The artists that they bring on, and so it really is, man. It's such a. I've had so much fond memories, being a part of the Kahilu Theatre over the years. I mean, even as far back as when the Slaki Ukulele Festival started out, and even before that, when I remember coming out here with Benny Chong, Dr. Byron Yasui, Gordon Mark, for the art of solo ukulele with Jay Unker, and all of those memories, man, I'll never forget. I have and it's a theater. It's such a to me, like it really unifies the community here in Kamuela, and I mean, I've just and to see the passion and the hard work that goes on behind the scenes, and how much people here just believe in the arts, believe in music.
That's so true.
It's incredible. So so I'm glad with Kahilu TV now. I think people anywhere in the world now can experience all of the wonderful shows and content, but more so the culture, the culture that they share through their content. I think is so important.
Yeah, just can't find it anywhere else.
And it's truly inspiring. And for anyone who's never been to Hawaii or has never been to the Big Island, they have direct access, to like what the culture here is about, and get a glimpse of that. So.
Well, let's get a glimpse of what's in store for you in the future in the upcoming year. You got any projects going back to the studio, or you going to continue touring?
Yeah, so going to be still continuing to tour a little bit more, you know, in 2022. I am back in the studio recording a new record, you know, working on another collaborations record. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be a little bit different, you know. But yeah, I think I had such a great time putting this together. So I told my manager, I was like, yeah, let's do more of these, you know, because I think collaboration is so important, you know, and especially like I said, you know, coming out of this everything that we've gone through, you know, during this pandemic, you know, you realize how short, you know, life is, and you know, and if you have an opportunity, especially in the arts or in business or in anything, you know, if you have the opportunity to work with someone or to collaborate with someone, or to do any kind of project with someone, you know, you should take advantage of that now, you know, while we're all still here. So
enjoy every day. Yeah. Hey, Jake, before I let you go, where's the best place folks can pick up? This is a vinyl record.
Yeah, I know
it's also on CD too.
So I can actually say I have a new album. Yeah. Right. Yeah, but so we you know, vinyl's been kind of gaining popularity again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my favorite way to listen to music. So you know, we have vinyl, and of course you can get it digitally. You can get it on CD. You can stream it. But I think. Next year we'll probably come out with the cassette and the 8-track. No.
People are doing cassettes now.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. Right? I don't even have a cassette player anymore.
I don't even have a CD player.
Yeah.
so should we send them to your website? Can they buy it there?
Yeah, you can go to my website, jakeshimabukuro.com, or you know, or all the normal streaming services, Spotify, Apple Music, and all of that. But you know, again, it was just such an honor to work on this. I had so much fun, and I just hope that the music, you know, brings that joy to people. You know, the same joy that we felt putting it together. I hope that, and the message too. You know, with a lot of the songs, you know, opening up with Jack Johnson and Paula Funga with "A Place in the Sun" was just so fitting for the vibe of the album. And then, you know, of course, Jesse Colin Young's, you know, Get Together. That's the message, right?
Yeah.
And Ziggy Marley singing All You Need Is Love. I mean, there's just so many things in there that just, and you know, we started it before the pandemic, but it just, you know, it's funny how things just kind of come together. So, yeah.
Well, Jake, thank you so much for your time today and doing this little interview on Talk Story Time. And we hope to see you real soon again here at the Kahilu Theatre.
Well, I'm a huge fan, so so thank you for having me. Always an honor to be on, and you know, thank you everyone for watching, and keep supporting Kahilu Theatre. You know, tell your Kahilu Theatre and Kahilu TV. Tell all your friends about it, and have them subscribe. Right.
Mahalo, Jake.
Mahalo. Thank you, Steve.
Right. Like what you've heard so far? Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thanks for your support. Now, back to the show.
Thanks for listening to the Songs and Stories podcast. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next week on Songs and Stories. Aloha.